every year our church as a whole diocese gathers for convention so we can see each other face to face. On Friday and Saturday, that convention happened, that annual gathering of our diocese. So I'd like to just call out the people who were there because we did a good work. So, and I'm hoping I can remember everyone. It was quite a number of us. Steve Pearson, Debbie McFarland, Michelle Waite, Peggy Mayfield, Dick Smith, and Dottie Fuller, right here. In addition, we had a whole team that went over to help put on the banquet. That was Lloyd and Carol Lowry, Sharon Colgan, and Ann Albano. So thank you. Thank you on behalf of this parish for your work. Our diocese is called El Camino Real. It stretches from Silicon Valley in the north to San Luis Obispo and Point South. We are 45 congregations stretched across 5 counties, Santa Clara, San Benito, Santa Cruz, Monterey, and San Luis Obispo. Our northernmost congregation is located in Palo Alto, and our southernmost congregation is in Arroyo Grande. Our congregations, or those 45 congregations, are known as welcoming and inclusive communities. We welcome everyone, regardless of who you are, where you are on your faith journey. We are a welcoming diocese. We worship in English, Spanish, Tagalog, and other languages that reflect the diverse culture of our region. We have more than 100 priests and 30 deacons active in the diocese. One of those deacons resides with us, Cynthia Montague. I'm often asked what a deacon is, and if you really want to know, you should ask Cynthia. But here is a stab at this. A deacon is an ordained minister of the Episcopal Church whose specific calling is to lead church members in service to the poor, the needy, and the oppressed. In addition, the deacon has specific ceremonial and liturgical duties. You will see our deacon setting the table, clearing the table. She proclaims the gospel to us and leads us in prayer for the world. This by no means covers all that a deacon does, but it gives you an idea. You can talk to her afterwards. Our deacon, Cynthia, works among the needy in her job as the Salinas Jail chaplain. Well, during this year's convention, during every convention, there are people who are honored for their work. And this year, all the people who work in jail and prison ministries were honored. There were over 50 people in our diocese active in jail and prison ministries. Most all of those people are volunteers, and we have one of them here among us, Lloyd Lowry, who was on the Kairos team that went, you remember praying for Lloyd earlier this year? He went into the prison at Soledad. I think it's state prison, right? California State Prison. People don't usually come out of there. Lloyd did, thankfully. Took a couple weeks, but we survived. There was a group called Kairos, and it's a spiritual retreat specifically working in prisons, and it took a lot of work to get that team in there. And so Lloyd was part of that earlier this year. Cynthia is employed with our diocese of El Real has a contract with the Salinas City Jail, County Jail, and that contract is Cynthia fulfills that for us. So she's an ordained minister in the jail. Now, she does not just represent Episcopalians or Christians. She serves people of any faith or no faith. So, on behalf of our parish, I would also, in addition to the diocese saying thank you, I would also like to say thank you to Cynthia for taking the love and compassion and salvation of Christ from this altar to the jail cells. volunteers hours to a retreat that was specifically about sharing Christ's affection with those who live behind bars. Blessed are the peacemakers, Jesus says. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall see God. Happy indeed are those who walk in the way of Jesus, the way of peacemaking among all. The election, of course, is very, very much on our minds and hearts. And I would like to conclude this very brief homily with Bishop Mary's letter, as her words bring solace and guidance as we navigate this difficult time for our country. Dear friends, she writes, besides our diocesan convention, our nation is very much on my mind. I know it is on your mind too. I know there is significant distress among us as we watch the news, listen to the debates, and worry about the economy, international relations, our kids, our future, our world. These are not irrational concerns or worries. They are legitimate, and they arise out of a sense of violation to our values as a nation, as well as our personal political perspectives. Indeed, I find myself more troubled not by differences of political opinion, but that we seem unable and even unwilling to find a way through those differences. This is not a Democrat or Republican issue. Worldviews are colliding. This is not a battle with a quantified battlefield. It is in the air we breathe. Can you feel it? I mean, it's in the air we breathe. We cannot distance ourselves from it. It is us. So she writes, I do not need to tell you to pray or to vote. I believe you know these things and are living them to the best of your ability. I do believe I need to remind us all that democracy only works if we work it. True democracy only works if we have our common good as a goal. What this is and how it is lived out shall be negotiated, of course. That's the process. So in this collective time of repentance and soul-searching as a nation, I invite us to observe ourselves and our roles. As we figure out where we stand, how we vote, with whom we align, we must not forget that we are our problems. It's not about them. We can also be our own solutions. As a people, is it not also good and right to drop to our knees in humility and say that we are sorry for the ills of this nation? As I pray for our nation and for our election process, I know I will also open my heart for the ways in which I have exercised my democratic obligation and privilege that has been self-serving, disrespectful, harmful, and in violation of others. Ways known and unknown, things done and left undone. As we take our stand, as each one of us must do, may we do so conscious of our deep need of God's grace and healing. Now, as a church, we are able and we are called to share this message. It is our regular spiritual practice to name our personal and corporate brokenness. We know how to do this. We have the tools to open our doors to our neighbors who are having the same experience, but they don't know what to do with it. She says, I would urge all of our congregations to open our doors on election day and in the days following. And as I have said, we are going to do that. Our doors will be open for prayer. I encourage us to be spaces where our neighbors may enter and pray, light a candle for our country, find a community with whom to gather. No matter who becomes our president next week, serious matters will remain before our nation. Living room conversations has become a valued and precious partner in our ministry of reconciliation in this diocese. Several of our congregations are having living room conversations. We have held one already here, and we will hold one again next Sunday. She writes, as a diocesan staff, we are using them to open up conversations in order to strengthen ourselves when conversation across difference becomes challenging. Would you be willing to host a living room conversation, she asked, in your congregation, to which we have said yes. Open to your days, open to your neighborhood in the days following the election. We all and our neighbors will need a safe and constructive place to gather, to speak, and to listen to diverse points of view. This is not only cathartic and healing, it is a step forward as we, the people, regather our nation. This All Saints' Day, the Gospel reading reminds us to love your enemies. This is not for the faint of heart or the spiritually undisciplined. There's no wiggle room to minimize the mandate. Jesus offers a very complete and rigorous exegesis of the Hebrew understanding of this great commandment. Love your enemies. Our practice of such love is the way, Jesus' way, toward the wisdom and courage we need to be the people God calls us to be. With confidence in God's grace, with confidence that ultimate reality is based in God's good governance. With that confidence, may we step forward in the same sacrificial love made known to us in Jesus' own dying and rising. To God be the glory.